Hi everybody. Your geography assessment task 2, I'd now like to just explain to you. Task 2 is about aid and it's a hand-in task. It's due on Thursday the 1st of June, which gives you 2 weeks from today, which is Thursday the 20th of May. The outcomes that are assessed are there for you to read. And basically you've got a criteria there, and the criteria says that you have to make an argument. And making an argument means that you have to present points of view after you've done some research, and you've got a written response to do as well. So basically what's happened is that the federal budget is coming up, to 2017 federal budget. It's fast approaching, and as the Minister for Foreign Affairs, you must fight for foreign aid to remain a high priority. All right, so that means that you are the Minister for Foreign Affairs. You could actually give yourself a name, or you could look up the name of the current Minister for Foreign Affairs, and that's going to be you. You're in charge of foreign affairs, which means that you're in charge of aid that gets delivered to countries from Australia. The Treasurer, who is Scott Morrison, is putting the pressure on to actually cut the foreign aid funding in the budget. That means that the amount that Australia is able to actually give to aid is about to be cut. And as the Foreign Affairs Minister, you want to make sure that Scott Morrison, the Treasurer, doesn't cut any aid funding, because you want to help the Asia Pacific region, and if you have cuts to your budget in foreign affairs, then that means that there are going to be countries around the Asia Pacific region that don't get that funding that Australia usually gives to them, or we don't have any additional funding to fund any other programs. So that's not very good. So we have needy neighbours in our Asia Pacific region, and I'm sure that you've been doing some work on that in class. And your task is to develop a written media release justifying your decision to the public as to why you want Mr. Morrison to keep foreign aid as a high priority and make sure that the money available from the government is maintained in this budget. So your task has 2 parts. Part A, you have to develop a media release explaining why foreign aid is important and justifying why there shouldn't be cuts to the budget. So a foreign aid is, I'm sure you've done it in class, but basically it's giving money to countries in our region to fund projects that are going to improve the quality of life for people in the region. And it's to Australia's advantage to do that. So you have to develop a media release. This means it's a written task. You're going to write in 500 words a media release, and in class you'll get some examples of media release, but it basically means that you're going to tell the newspapers, the TV, like all over the media is going to be a statement from you as the Foreign Affairs Minister as to why Australia shouldn't really cut any funding in foreign aid and why the Treasurer should put this as a high priority. So what you've got to do in 500 words is to outline the benefits of providing aid, not just for the receiving country, but for Australia's security and economy too. So when we talk about outline, we mean sketch in general terms and indicate the main features of. So security means we want a peaceful Pacific region, Asia Pacific region. So we have to make sure that it's peaceful in our region. We don't want any wars in our region. And we have to make sure too, we also have to make sure that the economy is something that we have to keep in mind too. So outline the benefits of providing aid, not just for the receiving country, but for Australia's security and economy. So you could talk about trade, for example. Assess the importance of keeping foreign aid as a high priority in the budget. So when we talk about assess, we are making a judgment of value. So we have to judge whether it's worth or not keeping foreign aid as a high priority in the budget. So part B. The second part of the assessment task is you going through the different countries that are provided in the assessment and deciding which of the projects in the countries that you would actually give the existing $3 billion in aid to. So decide which project will receive the existing $3 billion in aid before the 2017 federal budget is announced, and justify your reasons for allocating the funds for this particular project. So when we are justifying, we are supporting an argument or conclusion. So you have to say, okay, we've got $3 billion to spend. You have to look through the different countries, scenarios. For example, you have to look at country A, and there is country B as well, and country C. And what you have to do is to read through the country profile and to look at how the aid could be spent in that country, and then decide which of the countries you want to give that $3 billion to. You have to make sure that you explain why that country needs the aid, justify your reasons for providing the $3 billion to your selected country instead of any other country that's mentioned, identify what sort of aid you will provide. Will it be humanitarian aid, for example, as in the case for C? Justify why this type of aid would be more beneficial. You have to do a proposal of how the money should be spent, on what the humanitarian aid should go towards that the country needs desperately. And you've got to refer to specifically to the case studies you have chosen. So basically, that's your assignment, 2 parts. You have to submit it on Google Classrooms, and it should be written, and there is a literacy component that we're looking at too. So we want you to make sure that you can demonstrate that you've got good competency in persuasive language, and you can see from the criteria what we mean by that in the heading Assessment of Literacy, Persuasive Language. So good luck with that, everybody, and don't forget that it's due 1st of June, 9:30 a.m, and there are limits as to what you can do. So please make sure that you stick to the 500-word limit, for example, in Part B. All right, thanks very much, and good luck to everybody. There'll be 2 lessons in class for you to also work on this.